Hey guys, what's up? It's Stephanie. I am back and I have another video for you guys this week. So I'm going to be talking about this week, what does my normal week look like in PA school? So this is just based on my first semester. So how does my week look like? Do I go to school 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 5 days a week? And if I do, how long are my days? What classes am I taking, etc. So I will be talking about that in this video. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Dereta, dereta, dereta. Stop, stop, stop. Okay, okay. Up, 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 up. No move. Las paragus.
Alright guys, so how does my week look like? So I go to school from Monday to Friday. I am at school though from Monday till Saturday. Sundays I go to school if I go to the library, but I usually tend to go to a public library on Sundays to study. I found that I can't study at home. I feel like there's a lot of things that distract me, like my bed being one of them. And what I mean by my bed is that I want to sleep on it because it seems so cozy and warm, and sometimes I'm just so mentally tired that I want to go and sleep, and I take naps, and the naps aren't 30 minutes, guys. Sometimes they're like an hour or 2 or 3. So that's about 3 hours or 2 hours that I'm losing in studying. So yeah, but usually throughout the semester, my first semester, I would go to school Monday through Saturday. So 6 days a week of school. Yeah, 6 days a week, guys. Mondays, I am in school from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. 4:30, 4:45, around there. And I have a lunch in between, so I have a lunch from 12:05 till 1:40. And we have about an hour, more than an hour for lunch. Some students during that time, they will go and study, especially if we have an exam that day. They'll go and usually try to cram as much as they can. I can say I've done that also. Or you have time, some students will just go and try to sneak in a small workout before they come back for lunch for the next class. Or, you know, for me, usually most of the time, I would just sit in class after and just eat and just talk to my students, whether it was chisme. Chisme in Spanish is a slang for gossip. You know, gossip. I just love gossip, guys. I love gossip. Anyways, or just talk to my fellow students just to see what's going on, you know, just have fun. And yeah, we would come back and have class from 1:40 until 4, I think it was 4:20, I'm sorry guys, 4:20. And then after that, I would get out of class and then I would go to the library and just study. I found not to go home because I felt like I was stuck in traffic, specifically during that time. Trying to get out of the university is a lot of traffic, so I just ended up staying at school. So I would study at school, stay at school from like 6 to 10, sometimes 6 to midnight, depending if it was exams week. And then I would wake up the next morning at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. So Tuesday, I would wake up at 6 a.m. because I have a lab at 8 a.m. I have my cadaver lab, my anatomy lab. So for my anatomy lab, a good thing about my program is that we have cadavers. So we wake up at 8 a.m. and I wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm at school by around 7:15. And then those 45 minutes I usually spend studying or pre-gaming, how one of my classmates says. She says pre-gaming, which is studying before, and then gaming, which is what you're taught in class, and then post-gaming, which is going over the information again. So I would pre-game before anatomy practical, my anatomy lab. And then I would go to my anatomy lab, usually be there from 8 to 10:45, so about 2 hours and 45 minutes. In my anatomy lab, we're just given cadavers, and depending on what module we are in, for example, for the first semester we worked on the back, so we learned the back muscles, and then we went over to the front, so we went over to the thorax, so we learned about the thorax muscles, organs, the heart, etc. And then we moved on to the neck and the head, so the head including the cranial nerves, etc., arteries, etc. And so we go to lab and we're responsible for finishing, for example, the back. Say if we're working on the back, we're responsible for getting so far within our practical book. If we don't get that far, then we're required to come in on the weekend. So that's why I would say I would come in on the weekends, on Saturdays, to come back to lab and finish what we didn't finish during our lab time. And usually within my group, we had about 10 to 12, we have 12 students in my group. So 12 of us would be in during lab time. Now that's a lot of students. And so not all of us would be working at the body at the same time. I would say about 6 of us or half of us would be working on the body. And then the other 6 would go and look at, they have osteology, so they have the skeleton, we would go over osteology, or they have like mannequins, we would just go over that. And then we would switch because, I would find that if you're bending over for a long time, of course you get tired, and I think it's really unfair if one student is doing everything. So that's why we would switch. And plus, it's really good to be able to switch it up and be able to work with your hands, because that's definitely going to be a very, very vital skill to suture in the future as when we go to clinicals. So that was that. We would get out at 10:45, and then at 11, probably I would eat, because usually I get really hungry after cadaver lab. I don't know why. So we would go and eat just real quick, and then I would find myself back in the library studying until 10. Very rarely midnights, because I tried to get in my 8 hours of sleep, because I found that if I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't sane. So I wasn't retaining information. So sleep, very, very important. The only times that I would go to sleep a little bit later was during exam weeks. So I would go to sleep at 10 and then repeat it the next morning at 6 a.m. And then Wednesday my days are a lot longer. I am in school from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. And same thing, school the entire day in class. And then at 6 p.m. I would go to the library and study again till 10 p.m. And then Thursday I have my patient encounter lab. So my patient encounter lab is basically, we were taught this first semester, is how to obtain a history of present illness. So how to introduce yourself to a patient, how to ask about their family history, for example, about their past medical history, how to ask certain questions pertaining to the reason why they are coming in for, the review of symptoms, how to go over that. That was our first exam. And then our second exam is how to do a practical, how to do a physical from head to toe. And you've probably seen my videos. We were required to make videos for that class, which I thought was great because it helps you practice over and over again. So we're required to make these videos and submit them to our professors. Hence why I was making these videos. And I was able to share it with you guys so you guys can also see what I was learning in my patient encounter class. So we learned how to use the utensils like the otoscope, the ophthalmoscope, how to properly use them because I did not know how to properly use them, how to be able to percuss on the lungs, how to palpate certain organs, whether it was the abdominal area, your lungs, etc. And also the movements, how to move range of motion of your arm, etc. So this is what we learned in that class. And my patient encounter class was about also, that class was a little bit later, so I think it was the only day I was able to sleep in, and Sundays also. So it was at 1:40, it was 1:40 till 4:20. And what I would do is I would show up to school at 8, and then from 8 to 1:40 until my patient encounter lab, I spent it in the library with other students, and we would be studying. And then once I got out of my patient encounter lab, I ate and then studied again until 10. And then Friday was actually my shorter day. I had a class from 8 a.m. till 12:05, and then the rest of the day I would spend it studying also. Saturdays, I would come in most of the time throughout the semester because Saturdays my program does offer tutoring, which I think is fantastic. So second-year students, students that are already in their clinical rotations, they would come and tutor us and on different subjects, whether it was patho, physiology, ICM, Introduction to Clinical Medicine, EKG. So we would go and they'll give you a schedule and you just go to the tutoring. The tutoring sessions are about two hours each. So I was usually there the entire day also. So from 8 a.m. till, and then also if I needed to come back and we didn't finish a part on our cadaver, we had it on our patient, we had to come back and finish that up on our patient. So that, yeah, we would do that on a Saturday. And that's why I spent most of my day also on Saturday at school. And then after that, once I was done, I would also be at the library studying. And then Sunday, depending on whether I had exams or not, I would usually just kind of have my free day. I would study, but not as much. I would probably study about 4 or 5 hours. And then I would go out to eat with some of my classmates, or I would go out to eat with my family members, or just sleep. There were Sundays where I would sleep almost all day because I had not slept. I felt like I had not slept enough during the week. And then on exams week, though, I'd spend literally the entire day studying on Sundays. But yeah, that's basically what a week in PA school is. And I'm sorry, guys, I really wanted to be able to record myself live, as in like during my week, but I was just so busy last semester. I didn't have the chance, but I'm definitely gonna do that for the second semester. Record myself so you guys can see what it is from the moment I wake up to when I'm in class to when I go home, etc. So I'm definitely going to do that. Alright guys, so that is just how my week is in PA school. So yes, I am in PA school most of the week, 6 days a week out of the 7 days. And usually Sundays are my free day, and it's not the entire day, it's half the day. Or if it's exam week, which is almost every other weekend, then I don't have a free day on Sunday. But that is just my perspective. Definitely some of my classmates did have a lot more free time. I felt like I didn't retain the information, and my studying, the way I studied was just terrible. So I struggled a lot my first semester. Alright guys, well hopefully this gives you guys a perspective of how the first week, how a typical week looks like in your first semester of PA school. From school to studying, etc. Alright guys, so I hope you guys like my videos. As always, if you have any comments, questions, feedback for me, let me know. Or just any questions, just send me an email if not. And I will respond as soon as I can. Alright guys, thanks for watching my videos, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.